everyone, and welcome back to another reading vlog. It is now day 4 of the biannual Bibliothon and technically day 2 of the Buzzword Readathon. But like I said in my last vlog, I'm not reading any books for that challenge yet, but I am currently about 250 pages into the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I'm starting to find the story to be a little bit repetitive at this point. I also just don't find myself being as invested in her life now as I was towards the beginning, but I am still enjoying it. The writing is definitely a 5 out of 5 in itself. It's just very engaging and it flows really easily, so I do really like the writing. Hoping there's going to be some kind of big thing happening soon because it is getting a bit stale at this point. But yeah, in a few hours I have to leave to go to work, and so I'll probably update you guys tomorrow as I'll probably be working the rest of the night, so yeah. Hi guys, so it is now day 6 of the biannual Bibliothon and day 4 of the Buzzword Readathon. Possibly all the days are kind of melding together at this point, so I really don't know what day it is. What I do know is that I didn't vlog at all yesterday. I do apologize, but I slept in really late and then I had to work from 2 to 10, so it was just a really dreary day. But when I got home, I did finish The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I ended up giving it a 3-star rating, which may be the most unpopular opinion of the century. But with this book, I started off really enjoying it. The writing itself is like a 5 out of 5. It's super engaging, it flows really easily, it's really good writing. But the story, after a little while, it did get a little bit repetitive, and towards the end it was just very stale. So I don't know if this is going to be considered like a spoiler or something, but the twist at the end wasn't very shocking to me. Like when it happened, I was just kind of like, meh. Overall, I liked it, so I gave it a 3-star rating, and this completed the challenge of reading one of the host's 5-star picks and also reading an adult book. So that checks off 2 of the challenges. And then last night I straight away picked up We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and this is going to work for the challenge of reading a book with a cover that you don't like, and this will also work for the Buzzword reading challenge of reading a book with lie, liars, lying in the title. So far I'm only 24 pages into this book, so I don't think I can really form an opinion on it yet. One thing I do notice is that the writing style, I'm not sure if I like it or not. It has a very it's very blunt. It's kind of like, we did this and then she said that. It's just very straightforward to the point. But it makes it go by very quickly, so I kind of like it, but at the same time it's very straightforward. But yeah, I do think it's a little too early to form an opinion on this book. But yeah, today is my day off, so I am doing some stuff with the family. I'm kind of late, so I gotta go.
Don't get excited. Here we go.
I will give you another reading update. I am only 50 pages into We Were Liars. I'm hoping to get most of this reading done of this tonight, but I haven't read too much of it throughout the day. I still think it's a bit too early for me to say whether I enjoy it or not. The story is going by very quickly, and I like the story, but at the same time, I don't feel super invested in the story or the characters or anything like that. Still not sure how I feel about the writing as well, but we will see what happens. So in order for me to complete all of the challenges, I will have to finish this, read the entirety of Empress of All Seasons, and then the only other challenge to complete is reading a book that got me into reading. So in my TBR video, I mentioned that I got into reading when I was like 8 years old, and I would read chapter books. So I decided that I would actually go back and actually read one of the books that got me into reading. In fact, the book that got me into reading. There's no other one. This is the book that got me to read, because before I read this book, I pretty much hated reading. I could like barely read up until that point as well, but as soon as I discovered this series, I didn't stop reading since. And that is the Ruby the Red Fairy. It's part of the Rainbow Magic Fairy series by Daisy Meadows. This is basically the first book in a series of a bunch of series. So in each, this is like the introduction to the whole thing. In this series, we follow these two girls, and they're like friends with all of the fairies, and this is where they first meet them. And Jack Frost is the villain in the series, and he has all these goblins that try and like take away the fairies' magic and all that stuff. So the first series is the Rainbow Fairy series, so each one follows a different color of the Rainbow Fairy. So it's Ruby the Red Fairy, and then there's like Heather the Indigo, or Inky the Indigo Fairy, and Fern the Green Fairy, and stuff like that. And then there's another series that is all about pets, so it's like whoever the Pony Fairy or so-and-so the Puppy Fairy. I can't remember all of their names. I remember there were a ton of different series, like Days of the Week fairies, and there was like Trixie the Halloween Fairy and all that kind of stuff. But this is the first one. This is like what introduces the two girls in the series to all the fairies, so you have to start with this one. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, like people who are watching this are going to be reading this, but I don't know, if you have like kids or cousins or anything like that who would be into this, then I would totally recommend it, because I love this series. So I am going to read this right now. It'll probably take me about 10 minutes, and that will complete the challenge of reading the book that got me into reading. I'm not going to be adding this to my Goodreads reading challenge, because that feels like I'm cheating just a little too much. But yeah, I'm just going to read this really quickly, and then I'm going to move on to reading We Were Liars. Okay, so I just finished rereading this book, and boy was that nostalgic. It's a lot like shorter and simpler in the writing and storytelling than I remember it being, but I guess I was like 7.5 at the time, so it must have been, and like I said, I wasn't a reader, so at the time this was like a really big accomplishment for me. But yeah, this was super nostalgic, and if I ever have kids someday, you better believe I'm going to be reading them one of these stories every single night, because I love it. That completes the challenge of reading a book that got me into reading. So now I just have to finish this book and Empress of All Seasons, and I'll have completed all of the challenges. The book is pretty short, so hopefully it won't take me that long to read, and maybe tomorrow I'll take Empress of All Seasons to work, and so on my break I can read it a little bit. I don't usually do that, but we'll see how it goes. See if I don't get too distracted reading at work. But yeah, that is all for tonight. I will update you guys tomorrow.
Come on now, man.
Hi guys, so it is now the final day of the Winter Biannual Bibliothon. I just got home from work. It's like after 7 o'clock at night, but this morning on my way to work I did finish We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This completed the challenge of reading a new-to-me author and a book with a cover that I didn't really like. It also was my first read for the Buzzword Readathon, which I can't remember, day 5 of the Buzzword Readathon, I think. Either way, this is my first read for it because it has the word liars in the title. But as for the rating of this book and my thoughts on it, I ended up giving it 3 stars. I found myself not really being super invested in the characters or the story, but the twist at the end was pretty good and good enough for me to give it a 3.5 rating. And it wasn't until like one of the very last scenes that I found myself being a little bit invested in the romance part of the story. So yeah, 3.5, somewhere in between there. That is my rating for that book, and I've just come to the realization that I am not going to read Empress of All Seasons. I'm not super interested in reading it, and I just don't have the time. I'd have to read almost 400 pages in the next like 5 hours, and that's just not gonna happen. So I am going to end this reading vlog here, and that is going to conclude the biannual Bibliothon for me. I completed 6 out of 7 challenges. The only challenge that I didn't complete was to read the group book. So overall, I am pretty happy with how the readathon turned out. I would consider it to still be a success. So yeah, that is all for this video. I am obviously going to start up a new reading vlog, which will conclude the last few days of the Buzzword Readathon. But yeah, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!